now, so we will first start with the dashboards. Okay, we'll do the dashboard. We will then do the Pareto analysis. We'll understand why the Pareto analysis is so important, for conducting any business analytics, identifying the scope for the your analysis. And then finally we'll just do a complex formulas. I mean, I'm going planning to cover one complex formula, that is sum if. Okay, once you learn sum if, there are other complex formula, that is count if, count ifs. I will cover sum if and some ifs. Okay, and then we'll see the difference between VLOOKUP, where to use VLOOKUP and where to use sum if. Okay, let's start with the dashboards. Okay. Okay, so this is what we are going to cover today. We'll see how to create a dynamic dashboards, like when you will make use of some form controls, that is this is combo box. Here we have radio buttons, and then below we have scroll bar. Okay, which is basically scrolling your chart to see the top cities which are contributing to the sales. Okay, so we are transitioning into basic excel, from basic excel to some MIS reporting. We also we are So we started with basic excel. We migrated to some advanced excel. We learned how to do advanced formulas like VLOOKUP, nested ifs. And now we are moving into some like MIS profile, wherein we understand how to create management reports, basically to provide insights to the business. And we are going to do it in a very dynamic way, like uh, by making use of form controls. Okay, what's wrong here? How many participants we have? Okay, all right. Let's start. Let's get into this. So this is our raw data. I'll just quickly explain the raw data to someone who has joined new. So this data comes with, when you install Tableau, you get some free data to play with. So this is the sample data that I've taken from the Tableau install. And the name of the source is name of the data is samples superstore. So it's a superstore data. It has daily order ka information. It has product ID. Then it has customer hierarchy. So this part is called customer hierarchy. Okay, so it has customer ka ID, customer name, segment, country, city, state, postal code, region as well. Okay, also region. Okay, and okay, here we have this. Until here it is called customer hierarchy. Okay, these are basically your business I mean business centers. Okay, so maybe let's say, for example, demand has centers in various different locations. Like in Powai we have, in Mumbai we have Powai, we have in Kandivali, all those. Okay, so here these are the business centers, and then these are called category, subcategory, product name are called product hierarchy. Okay, so that data is divided into mainly three dimensions, you can say. uh, that is customer hierarchy, then company hierarchy, and then product hierarchy. Okay, then we have more information like order ID and all those things. So it's very important to understand the data. So from once you understand the data, you can then relate to the business questions that you want to answer. Okay, now these are the measures that you have. So anything that you can calculate are called measures. Anything that you cannot calculate are called dimensions. Okay, this is the simple way to understand what is dimensions and measures. So all these fields that you see here are dimensions, and okay, these are the dimensions and these are the measures. Like sales, you can calculate sales, you can calculate quantity, discount, and profit. So these are the measures. Now let's understand the business questions that we are going to answer. Okay, let's see, you are working on a real use case, and then you are creating an MIS report, You can creating an MIS. You are helping business to answer some of the basic business questions. Okay, so the basic business questions that you are going to build. I still don't call it as an analytics. I call it as MIS because analytics nowadays analytics is far more advanced. 5 6 years down the line, this was analytics, but now it has transformed into a very different thing now. Okay, so what we are doing now is understanding how to create an MIS report, a very basic MIS report. So these are the business questions that we need to answer. These are the questions that we have received from our client, from our stakeholder. So very first question is, how is my sales distribution by segment? Okay, so this is the raw data. We have segment here. Okay, we have three segment here: consumer, corporate, and home office. So the first question is related to this. Business want to understand how my sales is distributed among these three segment. Okay, now let's do this. I have these pivots created. I'm not going to cover, I mean, create the pivots again. So that I'll just use this ready pivots for my, okay. So this is simple pivot I have created. This is giving me segment wise sales. Now we need to transform this into a chart. So I'll just copy this information. I don't want grand total. I'll just copy this and I will say paste it here. Okay. And with this, I'll just create a static pie chart. So when you go to insert, you have an option available. This is Microsoft 2010. If you're using, a version below 2010, you may find it in different places, but you will surely find it. Okay, it is to be available in somewhere in, under different option available. Okay, look for these charts. Now here I have the pie charts. I'll just create a pie chart. There are the different, what do you say? This is a different formats available to make it, basically to beautify your dashboard. We'll take this one. This looks good to me. Okay, now name this your chart title as percentage sales TIPUTION by segment. Okay, so I'll just drag it on top of my data so that only chart is visible. I'll just reduce the size. I want to get rid of this grid lines. I mean, this Excel grid lines. I'll just remove the grid lines so that we will keep this section for. Okay, now also need a labels. Okay, I need to labels. I'll do add data label. I don't want to see the absolute numbers of sales. I want to see the percentage. I need a percentage sales distribution. Then click on your uh, labels and do right click. Then किधर गया? Yeah. I'll do add data labels. Format data labels. I want percentage. Okay, so now you can see out of the total sales, 51% is contributed by consumer segment. Okay, and the corporate is contributing 31%, and home office is contributing to 80% of total sale. Okay. Uh, yeah. Yeah. So we have answered our first question. It was very simple, question to answer. We have created a static pie chart. Anyone has any question on this? I'm sorry, I have a cold, so my voice will be little distorted. But yeah, let me know if you are not able to hear.
No, Piyush, all good.
Already have. Okay. Let's move to our next question. That is, under each segment, how are regions performing by sales and profit? Okay. So business want to know, like these are the three segments we have. Okay, consumer, uh, So these are the three segments: consumer, corporate. Under each segment, there are various regions. Now, my client want to know how are my regions performing under each segment. Okay. Now here we are going to add some dynamic feature. We want a drop down for our segment. Based on the drop down selection, our region chart will change. It will show the analysis for the selected segment. Okay. Now let's see. So here you need to pay attention, because it's going to be a little tricky. We are learning something, some unique thing, which you'll not see anywhere. You'll not find this information. This dynamic dashboard is not mostly covered in Excel and advanced Excel trainings that you find outside. This is something which I learned and I find it very useful, and I really want to share it with all. Okay, now, okay, pivot. Okay, so here is my pivot. Okay, I have my segment wise. So if you want to see the pivot, I have segment and region, and then sales in my values. Okay, a simple pivot I have created. Now this I'm going to use, for my uh, analysis. The very first thing, we need to create a drop down. Okay, now you will find a form control. So we'll use a form controls under developer tab. Okay, so this is not by default visible. If it is not visible in your Excel, you need to right click, customize ribbon. You will find it somewhere here. See, here it is. If you are using Excel, I mean, if you have not used this tab before, it will be unchecked for you. You need to check and then click OK, so that it appears here, and then you can use features under this. So these are the form controls. These are ActiveX controls. These are mainly used for the forms that we design, mostly with the coding and all. We are not going to use ActiveX control. We'll use form controls. Okay. So these are the different form controls available. I'll take combo box. This is the combo box. I'll just click on this and I will. Okay. So now currently it is empty. There is nothing in this. We need to put values under this. The three values that we want is consumer, corporate, and home office. So let's see how to do that. Let me take this value from here. So if I'm going too fast now, please let me know. I am okay if I have to explain 10 times. Important thing is to learn. Okay, so these three value I want to insert this three value in my drop down. So let's see how to do that. I'll right click on my form control, that is combo box. I select form control, input range. So I'll just give a input range. And there is something called cell link. So it is a very important feature of form controls. Each and every object you will find this option cell link. So I'll just link this with a particular cell. I'll say I have linked it with P2. Okay, let's see what it is doing. Okay, now when you see, you will find these three values under my drop down. And now when I select any value, you will see a number. Let me make it little light. Yeah, bold. So what I have assigned this as a cell link for my drop down. So what it is doing is basically it is giving me the position. Okay, position of my selection. When I select second position, it gives me 2. When I select third position, it gives me 3, and it happens automatically. All you need to do is right click, form control, and link it using cell link option. Just this, I did this. Okay.
So why P2 and not Q2, Piyush?
Sorry.
Why do we do P2 and not Q2? Because the cell link is in Q column. So why
No,
did we
you
do
can give it
P
anywhere.
column?
No, you can give it. You can also give P2. I just
Okay.
randomly selected P2. Okay.
Acha, acha,
Q2 you can do because Q2 में value है ना ये. Q1 you can give.
acha. Okay,
Anything,
okay.
anything. So anywhere you can link it with anywhere in the Excel, even in different sheet if you want. That is also feasible.
So how does it actually take? So because the data is in Q column. So when you did P, how did it take that value from Q when you linked it with P2?
That is the feature of this form control. It is basically asking the input range and the cell link. It will automatically text. It automatically, you know, whatever cell link you assign, it will give the
Uh-huh.
selection of your drop down. Let's say you assign, say Q1. Okay.
Okay.
Now let me highlight this. Okay, and this I
Uh,
will remove. Okay. Now this is your cell link. It will automatically take
Yeah.
the value. Okay. When I
Okay.
select. Okay.
okay, Piyush,
Uh,
Okay.
I have a query.
yeah.
There it was written as the maximum drop down can be 8 because in that drop down it was 8 written.
Parameter. Form
Uh,
control. No,
drop down lines.
drop down
So
We can
you
lines.
can
change
add
it.
that.
We can change it. We can give 90.
Okay.
So under that value,
Okay.
if you want, maximum, you can change that. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Now let's see. Okay. Now I'll just give a numbering to this. Why do I need this is because, see, now it is giving me the number, but I want the value that I'm selecting. When I'm selecting corporate, I want a corporate here. Okay. I'll do a simple VLOOKUP. Now equal to VLOOKUP. This is my lookup value, comma, this small data set is my table array, comma, 2 comma 0. Now you need to be very well versed with VLOOKUP. क्या हो गया इसको? Equal to VLOOKUP, comma, comma 0. Okay. Okay, so VLOOKUP is something which I'm not going to cover because we have already covered. But why everyone should understand why we have written a VLOOKUP. We basically need a value here. Okay, we don't want the number. I mean, number is there, but for our, for creating the dashboard, we need a value. Whatever I select here should appear here, and for that I have written a VLOOKUP statement. VLOOKUP, this is my lookup value, and this is my small data set from where I'm taking the record. So the VLOOKUP will be my lookup value Q1, my table array will be my this small data set. I want the second position, that is this one, hence I have written comma 2 comma 0. Any questions? Okay, I'm assuming everyone is good.
पीयूष एक बार वापस वापस ये VLOOKUP बताएंगे जो आपने समझा है जो आपने ऊपर बोला अभी जस्ट.
हाँ. ठीक है. So VLOOKUP, I'll write a VLOOKUP again. VLOOKUP, see, VLOOKUP में तीन part होता है, that is lookup value, table array, and then column that you want. My
करेक्ट है.
lookup value is this,
हम्म.
comma, my table array is my data set. Okay.
हम्म.
Uh, Now this is small data. You need to select the entire data set. Okay.
हम्म.
This P2 to Q4, comma, I want second position. Okay. मेरा data set में से मेरा second position चाहिए. So वो basically
कॉर्पोरेट.
comma 0. हाँ. Second position मतलब in the column wise. Okay. ये देखो, ये जो मेरा दो कॉलम सिलेक्टेड है ना, P
हाँ
और
हाँ.
Q सिलेक्टेड है, तो मेरे को P में मेरा लुकअप वैल्यू है, मेरा की है VLOOKUP का, एंड देन सेकंड
ओके.
पोजीशन में आई हैव माय ये सेगमेंट. सो आई वांट सेगमेंट ना यहाँ पे.
ओके. ओके.
Okay, तो 1 में करूंगा तो वो कंज्यूमर देगा, 2 में करूंगा तो कॉर्पोरेट देगा, एंड 3 में करूंगा तो होम ऑफिस देगा. क्लियर?
अच्छा, when you change the queue, the R will change on its own.
हाँ, because I have used a
Okay.
VLOOKUP. Yeah. So hence
Okay.
it is imperative. So now we are moving to very advanced topic. To
Mm-hmm.
get into this topic, it is really imperative to get well versed with the basic topics that we have learned. Else
Yeah.
it is going
Yeah.
to be challenging. So hence, I would recommend spend some time on VLOOKUP if conditions, get yourself well versed, then you are ready to transition into the next phase. And the path is still very long. What we are learning is
Yeah.
just the MIS reporting. There is a then there is a data analytics, then there is data science, then there is machine learning. Journey is very long. Okay,
Yeah. Yeah.
spend some time, but yeah.
Sure.
All right, so now let's see how to do. Okay. So now in our data set we have three regions. Okay, when we go to the pivot, we find for all my segments, these are the uh, three common regions we have. I'll just copy this regions dashboard. I'll just paste it here somewhere. I want sales as one profit. Okay. Now just observe what I'm doing. I'll explain. Now, so in the last to last session, we had seen, how to do that using VLOOKUP, but it was bit complex. Now to make it more easy, we will use a get pivot function. So get pivot function gets auto generated when you link your cell with pivot table. Okay, you don't have to write get pivot statement right from scratch. That will be too complex. But the good thing is, when you link your cell by equal to, and I will link it with my pivot table here. I want selling. See, you see that get pivot is auto generated here. It is basically giving me क्या selected है segment. So I have linked it with this. So it is giving me that I have selected consumer segment, and the region I have selected is center. Okay, any questions here? This is very important to understand. No? It's basically what I'm doing is I'm just linking my cell with get pivot, and the get pivot gets auto generated, based on the selection. Because I have selected this particular uh, cell, it is giving me what I have selected. It is telling me that I have selected segment as a consumer and region as a center. Okay. Now you will see this value here from your pivot. So it's coming from the pivot. Now I want to make it dynamic, right? I want to this is just an hard coded value. It is not changing based on. I want to make it dynamic so that it gets changed based on my selection. Okay. So what I will do, I will, these are my
Index match.
nahi, nahi. See, there are multiple ways. Index match is one of the way, VLOOKUP is one of the way, and get pivot is one of the way. We are really simplifying things by using get pivot. Index match is super complex. VLOOKUP is little less complex than index match, and get pivot is super easy. So what we are learning is super easy technique. That that all you need to do is basically link your get pivot. Here it is hard coded to central. What I will do, I will link it with my ये वाला cells which has all the regions. Okay, and the segment is hard coded to central. I will link it with my dynamic cell, that is R1. Okay, so now this I need to okay. See, now whatever value that you are changing na yahan pe, see this is changing. Just observe here how we did this is using simple get pivot function. We did not have to use complex index match and the VLOOKUP. It's super easy. The only the disadvantage is when you make use of get pivot formula, though your Excel file becomes very heavy. Okay, so you cannot use it for large analysis, for a large analysis where you have to use a lot of get pivot functions. All right, so our Zoom meeting will end in 10 minutes, but yeah, as usual, just join back in, join back in 5 minutes because I need time to convert my video. Last session it happened that I joined immediately, but I missed the video conversion. So we'll take 5 minutes, not 5 minutes, 3 minutes is enough. So join back in 3 minutes. Once you'll be automatically kicked off from the meeting, and then once you kicked off, just take 3 minutes break and rejoin the meeting. Okay. This everyone clear? I'll just drag this. See now, so it is static. Okay. Why? Because ये मैंने ये कर दिया. I need to freeze my column, not row. Now if I give, okay, profit. Now it is dynamic. So all I need to do is, make a chart out of it. I'll just do my selection. I'll go to insert and I will say bar chart. You can take 3D bar. You'll take 3D bar chart for today. Okay. So now send to back. so that my drop down is visible. And so these things are, these are very easy things. It's not very complicated to learn, but provided you need to be well versed with the Excel basic concepts. Once you get well versed with VLOOKUP, nested if conditions, and bit of complex formulas like sum if, and these things becomes very easy. Now if I select my, see the you observe that charts are changing. Okay, I'll just add a value to it, add data label. Okay, so you'll notice that the charts are changing. How this is changing? Because we have linked it with our dynamic cells. So these cells are dynamic, right? I just linked it with my regions here. I'll just name is a region and segment, the segment cell, which is dynamic cell. Any questions here?
पीयूष दोबारा बताएगा कैसे किया डायनामिक सेल का?
हाँ, ठीक है. I'll do it from again in beginning. Okay. So now what you need to do is link your analysis with get pivot. Okay, I'll do equal to, and I'll find my pivot का tab and link. कहाँ पे भी link कर दो आप, लेकिन sales में ही the second we have profit, but we are currently doing sales. Let's say I link it with south. Okay, so it will generate a hard coded get pivot. Okay, it is telling me that what I have selected region as south, I have selected segment as consumer. Okay, now this is static. It's of no use to me because it's static. Now I need to make it dynamic, so I will link it with my I want to link it with this, ताकि यहाँ पे मेरे को सेंटर का वैल्यू दे, यहाँ पे मेरे को ईस्ट का वैल्यू दे, यहाँ पे साउथ का दे. Currently it is giving me south यहाँ पे सेंटर में. So what I will do, I will link it with center. ये region को मैं कर रहा हूँ, segment को I will link it with my so region को I will link it with my region, and segment को I will link it with my segment. Everyone understand this freezing concept, right? If I do not put this dollar sign now, I will not able to drag it. Okay, यहाँ पे dollar sign मैं अगर नहीं देता, everyone understand. Hope everyone understands. This is something very basic of Excel, and you know by the time you reach here, you should be well versed with this. I really expect it. Okay, now you see that when I select home office, it is changing. Why this chart is changing? Because this chart is linked with my this cells. Any questions?
Fish for getting that dollar sign, that means freezing. Which shortcut key you are using? I actually
F4.
forgot that shortcut.
F4.
F4. Yeah, yeah. Okay, thank you.
But this freezing is very important. Freezing concept. I know a lot of people struggle with them and get confused with the freezing. Even I get confused sometimes because where to put dollar if I have to freeze, column or row. So, but yeah, I need to be very comfortable with that. Okay, so now we are done with the first part. I'll just do it in the so that we create a very beautiful dashboard here. I'll just remove this label so it's not looking very ugly. Now this is my region wise. Sales. Now what we need, okay, we also need profit here. Okay, so we need a drop down, we need an option to select sales or profit, either like जैसे कि यहाँ पे किया हुआ है sales and profit, both option, either you want to see sales or profit. Now let's see how to do that. Region wise sales नहीं आएगा, region wise performance I'll mention. Now I need to bring my radio button. यार ये क्या हो गया, किधर ऊपर कैसे जाएगा?
क्या हो गया पीयूष?
ये ऊपर ही नहीं जा रहा है मेरा डेवलपर टैब में, वो नीचे है ना, इसके पीछे पड़ा। लेट मी ओके, वी हैव गुड नंबर ऑफ स्टूडेंट्स टुडे, गुड। So we want this now, developer tab में से we want radio button. So we'll see how to make use of radio buttons. And again, I'm reiterating, what we are learning is very basic. This can get real complex when you want to use multiple level drop downs. Let's say dependent drop downs. एक select करे तो उसका dependent values दूसरा drop down में आए. So currently what we are covering is very basic things. Even though it looks very overwhelming, but these are very basic things when you go out. When you work in this profile. Let's take a radio button. So let's create a radio button. Okay. I'll name this as sales. I need one more. So let's make it as 3D format, so it looks really good. 3D shaping. I need one more here. I need it for profit. Okay. Now what we need, currently it is giving me sales based on, sales ka performance, region wise, sales ka region wise performance. Now I showed this with my client, but client really liked it, but he want to see, he will tell, he asked me whether it was possible to also show profit in this. Okay, now there are multiple way in the same chart. You can do it, by using a dual axis, but I recommended multiple options to the client, and client finalized that give me two options here, one for sales and profit, and depend upon the selection that I do, I should see my chart, I should see my bar chart. Okay, clear with the use case? Anyone has any question? We are trying to resolve the second answer here. Under each segment, how are regions performing by sales and profit? Okay, this is how it happens in the real world. You basically work with your stakeholder, you make a lot of you create a first draft of your dashboard, then your there will be never an instance when your client will be satisfied in first go. There will be a lot of iteration happens. There will be to and fro, there will be a lot of changes happening. So yeah, you need to be ready with that. You need to be well equipped, well versed with the skills that is required. Okay. Now let's see. Yeah, any questions? All right. Now, as I said, one thing is very common for all the form control is cell link. Okay, cell link is very common. Cell link is very important, and